Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support Training and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'm also a member as well as a director here in the Rhode Island region on the east coast of the United States. Today's webinar, and I'd like to welcome everybody to it, is on the social media aspects of BNI Connect. So the connections and the testimonials and the groups and really interacting with other BNI members around the world through BNI Connect. And we're receiving testimonials on almost a daily basis of members that are passing business worldwide using BNI Connect. And most of the time, it's simply by having your profile filled out and available for people to be able to find you. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is some of those strategies for how to be found in BNI Connect, and strategizing on your keywords and how to make a connection with other people, how to manage your connections, how to go through your recommendations or testimonials to leave testimonials for other people, and also how to interact with people using the groups functionality in BNI Connect. Now, let me give you an example of how people are using BNI Connect in order to connect with other people around the world. Now, this is a true story. This happened to me a couple of months back, and I'm sitting here in my office here in Rhode Island. Again, I'm a member of the Wakefield chapter, and a client of mine walks into my office, and he says to me, hey, I need a referral. And I'm like, wow, great. How often does that happen if somebody just walked into my office and asked for a referral? And he said, yeah, I have an in-house bookkeeper, but, they're getting in over their head with QuickBooks, and they need some instruction on how to do some advanced things. I said, awesome, great. I have somebody in my chapter that can help with that, a QuickBooks certified consultant. Now, what I did was I really wanted to use BNI Connect in order to really pull up that person's information in order to be able to basically print out the page with all of their information on it to give that to my client to take back with them as opposed to just a little business card. So what I did was, and I'm going to our test region here because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I went to find a member and I'm going to our test site in Antarctica, but I did a search for the member here, and what I did was I pulled up their profile, and what I found was something very close to this. And this is what a lot of people's profile looks like in BNI Connect. It didn't have any of their contact information. It didn't have a picture. It didn't give them any description of their business. It really wasn't a great credibility builder. So what I ended up having to do, because my little red card file was sitting on the front seat of my car, was I took out a yellow sticky note and I wrote down the person's phone number and I handed that over to them. Not a great way to pass the business along. And if people are looking for you on the regional websites or even within BNI Connect, in order to pass business and they're coming across something like this, it's not very likely that you are going to get that business. Now, if somebody instead had gone to my regional website, our region, and they went to find a member, and let's say they were looking for me, they would have seen a profile that's a little bit more complete. They would have had my picture. They would have had my logo, my name, the name of my business, my phone numbers and my mobile phone number, my website to my personal business. They would have had my address. They would have had all my social media links, a short description of my business, my ideal referral, top product, all of these things that help to immediately build that relationship. And again, we're getting stories every day. Here's a story right here, as a matter of fact. This is a woman. She's a member in the New York area, and somebody in California whose client is Microsoft was looking for somebody to photograph one of the events that they were having in the New York area. So they wanted to use BNI for that, and they wanted to use BNI Connect. So what they did was they went to the New York regional website and they did a search for photographer in that area. They came across a number of profiles, but she was one of the few people that had her picture and her contact information on her profile. So she actually landed this job photographing for Microsoft and now has Microsoft as a client. So just one example of the power of BNI Connect and the fact that people are passing even coast-to-coast and international referrals through the system. Now, once you log into BNI Connect, it's really easy to set up this information. I'm not going to go too in-depth with it today because we have a whole webinar called Building VCP through BNI Connect that goes into every detail about your member profile, but I just want to touch upon some of the major things. In order to get into the management portion, click on the My Account button in the upper right-hand corner. This will take you into all of the screens where you can edit your profile. So once you click on the My Account button, you'll see that this is broken into a number of tabs. So we have the main profile tab, we have the account details tab, the contact details tab, your permissions, settings, your bio, and your training history. Now this is where you're going to fill out all that information. You can verify that your name and your company name is all correct and that your industry and classification are correct. This is one of the things that shows up on your inside and public profiles, and that is the My Business description. So do take a couple of minutes to fill out your My Business description. This is basically your elevator pitch. So if you were to meet somebody at a networking event or somebody is viewing your profile that has no idea who you are or what you do, in 30 seconds or less, describe at a high level what it is that your business does and offers. Now, keywords, I'm going to come back to this in a minute because keywords are extremely important for being found in BNI Connect. It is a manual entry of keywords, so you do need to enter those keywords in order to be found by keyword. Again, I'll come back to that in just a second. Your user profile tab, do be sure to upload a profile image and a company logo. And make sure your contact details are correct. The Account Settings tab is where you can control what is seen both on the inside and outside of BNI Connect, as well as your communication preferences. Now the bio has all of your different bio information on it. It's broken into a number of different parts. The My Bio section, you can keep a couple of commercials, the Gains profile, and the Tops profile. Now from an outside world perspective, because the regional sites are viewable by anybody with an internet connection, you want to fill out your Tops profile first because that is shown. Again, if I flip back over to my profile, the things that are shown here are your phone numbers and contact details, your photo, your logo, your My Business description, and this right here is the Tops profile. So do take a minute to make sure that those pieces of information are filled out first. And then you do want to go back and fill out your Gains profile, your bio, and your commercial. Now that's the outside of BNI Connect. When we want to connect with other members around the world, what we'd be looking at is the inside profile. Now if you'd like to see what your profile looks like to other people, on the bottom of just about every page in BNI Connect is this red bar down here. And you'll see a link that says Profile. And this will show you your profile as it appears to other people. So if I click on that button, or that link, this will take me to my inside profile. So we can see it's set up very much like your My Account page. It has a number of tabs along the top. It'll list all of your roles, where you're a member of, if you're a director, what chapters you are a director for, and things like that. Your name, your business, your industry classification, your logo, contact details. And people can also view your bio tab so they can see your presentations. So this is another great reason to fill out your profile because of the 140,000 members that are in BNI, I would venture to say that 139,950 of them or so will never hear you speak your 60-second presentation at your chapter meeting. But this gives them an opportunity to read your 60-second presentation. Again, your Gains profile and your Tops profile. People can also view the people that you are connected to. They can view testimonials that are left to you by other members in BNI. Again, your testimonials, your photo gallery, so you can upload and share photos through this interface, the social media groups that you're participating in or running, and finally, your training history. Now, what about when you want to find people or when you want to access some of these social media functions? Now, the place to access almost all of the social media functions in BNI Connect, if we go back to our home screen by clicking on the Home button, there all located under the My Network tab. So we can see we have connections, groups, shared documents from your regional office, testimonials, and your regional events, and we do have an internal messaging system as well. You can also access most of these things by clicking on the Network drop-down in the top of the screen, where we can access our groups, our connections, our testimonials, and your picture gallery. Now, one of the primary things that you're probably going to want to do when you're looking to connect with other people is to find people in BNI and connect with them. The way to do that, there's a couple of ways to do that, but the primary way to do that is by clicking on this magnifying glass, Search People. You can also click on the Add button to add connections from your My Network screen here. They'll both take you to the exact same place. Now this is going to pull up a search, and we can search anybody in BNI around the world, at least about 90% of the countries that are using BNI Connect right now. You can search one country at a time. You can search by name or keyword, by state. You can filter it down by state, city, or you can even choose a particular profession that you'd like to search for. So let's say that we have somebody on the line with us today, Jeremy Anderson. I'm going to do a search, and let's say I wanted to connect with Jeremy Anderson. Assuming that he's here in the United States, I could type his name in and do a search for him. And let's see what it comes up with. And let's see, this might be the right person. Jeremy Anderson, he's in the Referrals Unlimited North chapter in the Minneapolis Web Marketing Company, and his profession and specialty is online. Now, if I wanted to connect with him right away, I could just click on this plus sign. And what this will do is it'll send him a notification that says, hey, Jeremy Walsh wants to connect with you. Would you like to accept that connection? I could customize this if I'd like to, so I could say something like, thanks for being on the webinar today. And this would send him that as part of a customized message. Now, if I'm not sure who Jeremy is and I'd like to see more information about him, I can also click on his name here, and this will take me to his profile. And we can see that he's in the Minnesota region in the Referral Unlimited North chapter, and he is a member of that chapter. I can see his industry. I can see what keywords he's put in, his logo. I can click through to his website if I'd like to. And I can also look at his other pieces of information here. And again, if I would like to connect with him, I also have a link from his profile here to connect with Jeremy. So I could send him a connection request here. Now let's say you don't know the person's name. Well, you can still do searches by keywords. And this is where it's really important to make sure that you have your keywords entered on your profile. So let's say that I'm looking to connect with, I don't know, architects. I want to do a search in BNI Connect for anybody who has the keyword architect entered into their profile. I can do a search. And this will return, let's see, about 391 people in the United States that are architects or have architect as a keyword. Now, if I'd like to, I could further refine this. I could put in a state or I could put in a city. I can also use this secondary search. So I can filter the results here by putting in some type of a term here down in the search box. So let's say I think the person's name is Frank that I'm looking for, but I'm not really sure, but I could start typing in Frank. And I can see the Franks that are here. And we can see that Michael is showing up because his name for his company is showing David Frank. Now let's say I'm not sure which Frank it is and I'd like to connect with one of them, but I'm not sure. What I recommend doing is right-clicking on each of their names and choosing Open in New Tab. So now what we'll be able to do is take a quick peek at each of their profiles. So I can see Frank Gomillion here. I can see Frank Karpowitz, Frank Pizzuro. I can see all of his information, and Michael Seaman. And if I'd like to connect with any of them, I can just click on the Add to My Connections button. Now, one other thing that isn't completely obvious is that you can also do a search in the name keyword by email address. Now, the great thing about searching for email addresses, especially if you are looking to connect with somebody who may be part of a larger organization. So let's say I'd like to connect with anybody from Edward Jones here in BNI. I could do that by putting in the last part of the email address at edwardjones.com. And this will return for me all of the people in BNI Connect that have an at edwardjones.com email address. And I can see that it's a fairly popular category with 432 potential people that I could connect with here in the United States. And let's say that I just wanted to get people in Massachusetts. I could type in Massachusetts. And this would give me just people in the state of Massachusetts. So now what happens after you've started connecting with these people? Well, you can manage those connections. What it does, similar to LinkedIn, is it puts it into kind of an address book for all of your connections. Now, the way to access that is to either go back to the home screen on the My Network tab, and you can click on Manage under your connections. You can also get there by clicking on Network, Connections. It'll both take you to the same place. Now, once you get there, you'll see two views of your connection. On the left-hand side is a folder with just names, and you can scroll down and look at the names. You can see that I have 286 BNI connections. On the right-hand side, it'll be the names as well as a small profile picture of them. To see you can click on their name. This will give you what they're working on, their address, their contact information, very much like a little address book view of your connections. From here, if you'd like to, you can also send them an inside message. So this would be an internal message. You can ask them for a testimonial. You could give them a testimonial. You can go and view their full profile, or you can remove them from your connections. Now, one thing to note is that your connections to your chapter members, so all of the other members of your chapter, are automatically managed by BNI Connect. So as people join your chapter, you will automatically be connected with them. As people leave your chapter, you will be automatically disconnected from them. So, for example, there's one person from my chapter, Abby Valino. We'll see that I don't have the ability to delete that connection. And again, that's because that is a system-managed connection because she's a member of my chapter. But I still have the opportunity to ask her for a testimonial, send her a message, give her a testimonial, or view her profile. I can also send her a regular email by clicking on this, and it will start up a new email message for me. I could give her a phone call or grab her address if I need to. Now, once people send you a connection request, you do need to accept that connection request in order to put them into your connections. Now, the way to do that is you'll see that you have a received requests down here. And right now, it looks like I have 2 people that have sent me a connection request in BNI Connect. So I can look at them. I can say I can accept it, I could ignore it, or I could reject it. I could also click to read the message that they sent me. Now I can choose to accept this, so I'll accept Robin as one of my connections. And then if I'd like to, I can also read Pamela's message and accept her connection as well. So now she will appear in my connections here. So now I should see Robin, and I can do a search if I'd like to. So if I'm looking for Robin here, search my connections. And I will see Robin's information. Now, one other way that you can make connections with other people in BNI Connect is by using their connections to make more connections. Now, the way you would do that is very similar to how LinkedIn operates, where you can look at people's second, third, and fourth level connections. So you can do that by looking at their full profile. So I'm going to go view Robin's full profile. And from here, if I look at her Connections tab, I can see all of the people that she is connected to. So all of her fellow chapter members, as well as anybody else that she's connected to. So let's say that I'd like to connect with Kara Millett, another member of her chapter. I can click on Carol's name here, and it will bring me to Carol's profile. Now, if I'm not already connected to Carol, I can click on the Add Carol to my connections. This would send her a connection request, and it would, if she accepts it, add her to my connections. But it doesn't stop there. You can go as many levels deep as you would like. So I can click on her Connections tab and take a look at all of her connections as well. So let's say I'm also looking to connect with Jacob Butterworth. I can click on Jacob's profile, send him a connection request if I'd like to, and also look at his connections. So this is an easy way to start navigating all of your connections, all of your contacts, in order to be able to connect with people in BNI Connect. Now, one of the other things that you may want to do once you connect with people is to give them testimonials. Now, the testimonials are done through your Connections portal. So I'm going to go back to Network Connections. And if I wanted to give somebody in my chapter a testimonial, or any of my connections a testimonial, what I would do is click on their name, their short profile will show up, and I can click on the link to give Abby a testimonial. This will open up a little text editor, and you can type your testimonial that you would like to give to her. Once you submit that testimonial, that will now become a part of her profile. Now, one thing to note is that you can only give one testimonial right now per member. So once I give somebody a testimonial, the Give Testimonial link will disappear. And if you something that you'd like to edit or change, you would need to ask them to remove the testimonial first. Once people have given you testimonials and you'd like to manage them, you can click on the Testimonials button up on the top of this My Connections, or go to Network Testimonials. They'll both take you to the same place. From here, I can manage the testimonials that I've received. So I can look at the people that have given me testimonials. So I could click on, for example, Beth's testimonial, and I can review that testimonial. I can also choose whether or not I'd like to display this one on my profile, or if I'd like to hide it. I can also delete that testimonial if that person needs to give me a new testimonial, or let's say that they made an error when they were writing this testimonial. I can also review all the testimonials I've given to other people. So, for example, I could read the testimonial that I gave to Tony. From here, I can also see all the testimonial requests that I've sent, or that people that have sent testimonial requests to me. So I can see here that Rick has requested a testimonial of me, and if I'd like to, I can take this opportunity to give that testimonial. I could ignore it, or I can say, no, thank you, I'm not going to give you a testimonial right now. And again, all of these testimonials will appear on your profile. And that's the thumbs up button on your profile. So we can see that my 8 testimonials that I've received appear on my profile for other people to read. Now, once you start connecting with people, and even if you're not connected to them yet, a great way to make use of this BNI Connect network is to participate in the groups function. Now, the groups function is really a global one-to-one with different discussion topics. In order to go into the groups function, you'll see it on your My Network page. You can go in and click Manage. You can also go to Network Groups. Now, by default, it's going to take you into all of the groups. So right now, if I scroll down, we can see that currently there are 2,268 active groups in BNI Connect. It's going to sort by default by the most recent activity within those groups. So these are people that have posted very recently, most of them today. And if I'd like to, I can go in and I can look at these groups. So, for example, if I'd like to go and look at the social media marketing group, I can click on that name of that group. I can see all of the different topics that they've started. If one of them interests me, for example, let's say I want to look at the Let Us Know Your Facebook fan page discussion, and I can look at the different posts that are here. If I'd like to go back, I can go back and view all topics again and read another topic. Now, any open groups, you'd also be able to post a message to that group even if you haven't joined the group yet. If it's a closed group, you would have to be a member in order to be able to post a message to it. Okay, going back to the groups function, you can also search for groups that you'd like to participate in. Now, you can search for groups, or of course you can just scroll through each of the pages if you'd like to. But let's say that you'd like to search for a group. You can do that by clicking on the magnifying glass. So let's say I'd like to find all groups whose creator is Dr. Meisner. I can click on Search after putting the name Meisner in. And what we'll see here is there's two groups that Dr. Meisner created. So if I'd like to go participate in those groups, I can. Now, if you're not a member of the group, you would see a button here that says Join Group. Once you join that group, it also means that you will get the notifications for that group. So when people make posts to the group, you would get an email saying that there's a new post in this group. One thing you can also do as a member of BNI, you can create up to 7 of your own discussion groups. So if there isn't a group already created for something that you'd like to talk about, you can create a group yourself. Now, the way to create a group is to click on Add Group. You do need to give the group a name. So I'm going to give a group a name of Test, Test, Test right now. You need to choose the access type. So this will be, unless people join the group, what they'll be able to do. So you can have people just be able to view it until they become a member of the group, or they can view and post whether or not they're a member of the group. The next thing is the group type. There's 3 different types of groups that you can create in BNI Connect. An open group, meaning it's searchable, people can find it, people can participate in it, they can read the things that are on there. An invite-only group, which is kind of a closed group. You would have to invite people specifically to be a part of that group. Or members can invite, which means that once somebody becomes a member of the group, they can invite their friends to join the group as well. So it's kind of a semi-closed group. Give the group a description. This group is only a test. And you can select your contacts. So you can select any of your contacts that you'd like to invite right away. You can also hit Control-A to select everybody if you would like to select all your contacts. Once you submit this group, it will now become an active group in BNI Connect. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is start a conversation after you've invited people. So now the way to do that is to go into your group and start a new topic. So you can add a new topic. With a description and click Submit. Once you've created a topic, you can start a conversation. So now all of the people in the group and or people that are just browsing groups will be able to talk back and forth. So this is a great way to really reach out and participate in a global conversation with members from around the world. And as you start looking through the groups, you'll see there are some very, very active groups around. So we're now at the bottom of the hour. At this point, I would be happy to open this up for conversation. I do realize if anybody does need to leave right away at the bottom of the hour, I would like to thank everybody for their time here today. Of course, I'm happy to stay on the webinar until all questions are answered. A couple of things, this webinar is being recorded and will be recorded including the questions. It will be made available on both our support site. You can get to the support site by clicking on the question mark within BNI Connect. This will take you to support.bniconnect.com. You'll see our list of upcoming webinars, as well as a ton of help documentation, including all of the recorded webinars by month. You'll also be able to find the recorded webinars on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And this is where you can find all of our recent webinars on different topics, including the online SLIPS program. There's a message from Dr. Meisner up here. There's social media functions, previous recordings of this webinar, and lots of other topics. If you have an opportunity, please also join us on facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. We do webinar announcements, tips and tricks, and all sorts of things up on our Facebook site. So please do give us a like and join us up there as well. So if anybody has any questions right now, I would like to open this up for questions and answer any questions people have. You can put in a question by using the chat or the questions feature within the GoToWebinar software. Or if you do happen to be dialed in through a phone connection or on a computer that has a microphone, just drop me a note and say, please open my microphone, and I'd be happy to open up the microphone for you. So Frank Beststone is on with us today. He says, I'm a newbie to BNI, and the BNI website is great. Well, thank you very, very much for that compliment. And as you get to learn it more, please do come back and join us, and we'd be happy to show you some more tips and tricks. So, excellent. If there's no other questions, comments, or concerns, again, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. Please join us for our next webinar. Our next webinar is going to be tomorrow, April 11th at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to be talking about building VCP with BNI Connect. Basically, how to fill out your profile, some tips and tricks and techniques for making sure that it's filled out correctly. Oh, we do have one last-minute question here from Jeremy Anderson. How can BNI profiles help in SEO on Google? That is an excellent question. Personally, I am not a web optimization expert, but I do know that all of the profiles on BNI Connect are searched by the spiders, both Google and Bing and Yahoo and all of those search engines. So they are available. They are able to be found through Google searches. So they do help to increase visibility out there. If you do want a little bit more information on that, please go to that support site and click on the Submit a Request up at the top of the screen, or send an email to support@bniconnect.com. We do have a web expert on the team. His name is Frank Ruiz from Outback Solutions, and he handles more of the public website CMS side of things. And I'm sure he'd be happy to answer that question in as much detail as you need. So hopefully that helps, Jeremy. Do we have any other questions? So excellent. Again, thank you everybody for being here and for everybody that stuck around through the questions as well. Do look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. If this was helpful to you, a good referral for me is to please go back to your chapters, let them know about these webinars, and have them sign up for them so we can get the knowledge out of our heads and into yours. Have a great day, everyone, and happy connecting.